Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Are we seeing a comeback in Europe? New data suggests the Eurozone is strengthening. Germany, of course, is solid. Spain, Italy are seeing some light. Meanwhile, India is scrambling as its stocks and currency are collapsing. We talked about this off the air, too, and I asked you, why would India, because it's such a burgeoning economy, why would they be struck? Well, their stocks are struggling, their currency is struggling, and you had a very good point.
You know, before we get to India, I want to dispute the situation in Europe. It's not really wrong in the context of what they've been going through, but
Well, their PMIs are 2 and 3 year highs.
Let me put it this way: Germany right now is at a rate of about 2.5% gross domestic product growth. And yeah, that's okay. Not for Germany, but Germany at least is head above water. And what you've got, Greece was a disaster. It's maybe a near disaster now. So Europe is not what Europe used to be. Europe will go from 20% of the world gross domestic product of about $75 trillion to maybe 15% in the next year. But it's stabilizing. I'll go along with that. Now, in India.
Wait. Is Greece going to need another bailout?
Well, they're looking for it. I mean,
and Angela Merkel, who is the German chancellor, she's up for re-election really
this
soon.
month. Yeah.
That's anytime you're up for a re-election, that alters your moves and your motives. Is she going to allow Greece to get another bailout before her election?
Well, I think she's going to say we don't have the money anymore to give it to them. And so what they'll do, they'll go with another 100-year bond of some sort. They'll find a way to worm out. I don't see Greece being such an inconsequential economy, really. I mean, we talk a lot about it because they're such a sad, despairing economy. It's not that important. I think Europe as a whole, especially Western Europe, especially the Eurozone, is going to continue to be stable on the low side. But you mentioned India. You're right. Let's put India in perspective. You've got a world today where you've got a population of above 7 trillion. If you take China with
billion.
Excuse me, billion. You know,
we're growing.
I know. Not, maybe I'm looking too far in the future. You're right. Thanks for bringing that to my attention.
Well, we're so used to talking in trillions now.
You know, you're right.
Everything's trillion.
Trillions, yeah. Now
trillion here, trillion there.
It's become
pretty soon you're talking about serious money.
Yeah, and then you go into quadrillion. That's the next step. But you're right. The point is we have about 7.25 billion people in the world today. China has about 4 billion. India has about 1.1 billion. I'm sorry. China and India together represent about 35% of the world population. China is a uniform society. They never had the kind of fissures in their system that India had. India had before even while the British were taking over, they had the Brahmins, who were the aristocrats, the people that were in charge, the Maharajas, you know, the ones that were the British were paying off to run the country for them, and they had their soldiers, and then they had the Sikhs, who were great fighters. And then you had, on the other hand, you had the untouchables, who were the low-class people who never could get off the lowest classes. And then you had professionals in between. Now, India, relatively speaking, that part of the world has benefited by Manmohan Singh, who came in 1990, and he's now prime minister. But he is primarily a technological guy. He made India into a great technological power. But that's basically the big thing they have going for them. They're not very good at commodities the way China is. They're not a modern distribution export country the way China is. And what's happened is they got ahead of themselves. And the rupee, which is their currency, has lost value because investors from overseas and people that do business with them, they don't have any respect for the way they handle their finances. And when they don't have respect for the way they handle their finances, they don't want to loan them anything, and suddenly the money's being yanked away from India. And India wants to grow, but nobody's there to helping them grow. Now you can say, well, what about the United States? Come on, let's be frank about the United States. With all the problems we got, we are still the greatest country in the world. we're worth 170, 180 trillion dollars when you consider our natural resources alone. You know, unfortunately, with the kind of leadership we got here, we aren't even aware and are not taking advantage of the greatest blessing God ever bestowed on any country, and that is leadership in oil, coal, natural gas, which will be the biggest single element coming into the future. We got it all. All we have to have is put it together and move forward. We just
and we can't even approve a Keystone pipeline when Canada wants to give us the oil.
Well, not only that, you know, the Enbridge pipeline, which was a reversal of oil going from Cushing, where it's over inventoried. And
Oklahoma.
So, yeah, Cushing, Oklahoma. Instead of shipping it in more from the offshore drilling in the Gulf of Mexico, they are reversing it. And you know that the Sierra Club and the allies of the EPA are laying down in front of the excavation, trying to slow it down and so on. We've got, and those are the people that are being encouraged in this country. It's the offshoot kind of organizations. I call them the climatological purists who don't know what they're doing. They just think it's no good to have anything else, any CO2 going in the air. We all breathe CO2, and a lot of trees are alive because of CO2. But no, that's their big cause.
One thing they're concerned about is contaminating the water table.
But they've been
how realistic is that?
It's totally unrealistic because they've been proving it over and over again that it's not. It does not disturb the water table. It's been proven, and nobody's arguing other than these crazies.
And how about the stories that it creates earthquakes, like in Pennsylvania? Do you agree with that or no?
The Earth is 4 billion years old. We've had cold spots, we've had hot spots, and in 1970, the Time magazine had a big story about the new ice age. So this is all nonsense. This is just a way to stop our economy from growing.
Control. And money.
Control and money. You got it. That's how Al Gore became a billionaire.
Yeah, he would have been better off. We would have been better off if he was elected president. I
think you're right.
George Bush wouldn't have been there. I mean, Bush doubled the national debt, right? It was $5 trillion, went to $10 trillion.
That's true.
And then he got us into Iraq and Afghanistan.
That's right.
He wanted to give the ports over to Dubai. He was for illegal immigration,
well,
Medicare Part D.
He also got into exactly. I was going to say the entitlement things, which he knew nothing. The only thing I'll say, though, he was a nice guy. He didn't do it out of malice or trying to
get
even or undercut. I think he's a patriot. I mean, the guy thought he did the right thing.
He just wasn't very bright.
He wasn't